So on this video, I thought I would share where I am with my drawing at the moment, portraits. That I started a sketchbook back in September last year, and I'm currently over 100 days into my daily sketches. So it's no longer just keeping it up, it's now become a habit that I do it every day regardless. And I've just done this drawing here, which I'm quite pleased with, and I thought I'd share how I did it with all the measuring techniques I'm using. Really, where I am is coming from daily practices, and I know a lot of you on the members forum on my website are practicing daily as well, and that shows. So if you're serious about painting portraits or drawing portraits, try to get in the habit of just doing it daily. Find images that are not too taxing, maybe, like this image, and something with good lighting. So it's got a strong shadow pattern on this one, so it makes it easier for you. Anyway, let's watch the video. So I'm going to try and get this as accurate as possible. So I've printed this off at 4 inches by 6 inches. So it's not particularly big. And it's in my sketchbook. So I'm just getting the height, which I'm just taking the measurements from the actual reference there. And then I shall aim to do a bit of an outline, but I shall use straight lines. I can look to see where the eyebrow ridge is there. And after I've done this rough sketch, I shall then just check and do a bit of measuring to see how far was I out. Might be an idea to put that in. That's the eye line there, roughly. Just gives me an idea roughly where things are. And I'm just using a 2H pencil at the moment, so it's quite faint, so apologies for that at the moment. But let's just take a little bit of a measurement here. That's where the other eyebrow is, across there. Let's not get into any detail at the moment. And then the back of the head, let's take a measurement. I'm using a knitting needle here. Could use a pencil. And we can take a measurement from there to get to the neck. So let's just do a check, go around. So we've got the height, yeah, got the width across the head there. Let's take a measurement across the top. Looks pretty good. Measurement from the mustache to the back of the neck. Okay, that's pretty good. So now let's just look at shapes. So I'm not putting any details in as yet. The mistake I've made is putting in details too soon. Let's look at where the eye sockets are. And we can start to shade in there. We know we've got the bottom of that in roughly the right place. It's tricky to measure with this needle. Isn't necessarily the... I think also the sketchbook, because it's not flat, is tricky, so I shall be moving away from that at some point. So the nose, again, just stick to straight lines for now. And we've got glasses on there as well, haven't we? And the moustache, again, let's just take a measurement. And I find, if you're just constantly measuring, you're going to have much better success, or I certainly found that I have, that it's easy to make mistakes and get lost. And I've looked at the Loomis method, and you know, it's good, but for me, I find this works better. But I use the Loomis in, you know, if I envision this as a sphere and I can follow that line around, I know the bottom of the nose is going to be at the bottom of the ear, so I can put that in, and I know the top of the ear is where the eyebrows are roughly, so that's useful. So I think a case of just take a little bit of all these little different tricks, method, Riley method, and so on, and whatever suits you. So the glasses, quite useful to perhaps put that in, and we know we can go over to the other side of the head. They would be parallel, and actually might not be a bad idea to just draw those square as well. And then the bridge of the nose. Obviously we're seeing slightly less this side because of the 3/4 view. Excuse me. So I'm just going to use this blending stump that's got quite a lot of charcoal on it, or graphite, and just put in the shading just lightly. And got a line going across there, which is a shadow from the glasses. Cheekbone, can look at where the glasses are there. Get a guesstimate to where that is. And at this stage, it's a case of just looking for errors, things that could be wrong. I'm not expecting it to get it perfect. So I shall put in a little bit more shading. So the top of the head shape isn't quite right. So let's have a look at that. And I can start to round things off a little bit. There's the eyebrow, dark shape there. Slightly better. Hairline on the back of the head. Dark under the ear. Dark under there. And I'm going to use the blending stump again, and I think I'm finding if I keep everything soft, it's easier, or it's the look I want, let's say. I want it to appear soft, which gives it that more realistic look as well. This gentleman hasn't got a lot in the way of hair. And maybe just a few sharper edges, you know, if I'm sure that this is correct, which I'm not. Maybe that needs to go up a bit higher. It does cross over the eye, so let's figure out where the eyes are. Again, I could always just take a measurement. If in doubt, measure. But we're quite happy that we've got that in the right place. So that gives me the position of the eye there roughly. But we can't actually see the eye because he's got his eyes almost shut. So we just see that shape, and the other one's got to line up on the same level. Again, going for soft, but if we get that in place, that gives me that little shape. Onto the nose, over the bridge of the nose, darker in there. Let's have a look at these glasses. So if the eye is there, this is actually a little bit lower. And where's the end of the glasses? So again, just keep measuring, checking. So let's take a measurement from side of the face to the edge of the glasses. So I had the glasses completely in the wrong place. They're there more. And I can see where they cross over on the eye. I think unless I get the glasses perfect shape, probably best to not make too much of them. And that is over the nose. That one was in the right place. Again, they need to look like they line up. So close enough. It's just an exercise at the end of the day. Still too early really to be getting involved with any detail as such, but let's get some darks in with these eyebrows. But again, they're too sharp. Let's just keep it soft. And obviously the ball of the eye, it's a ball, so we've got to look at the shape that's being created there. So there's a plane change there, the side of the head. Down to that cheekbone. Shading in the ear. So under the nose, it's just a dark shape, which this is a 2B lead, 2mm mechanical pencil I'm using. There now, it doesn't really matter what you use. You know, whether it's mechanical, just I think having a good point helps. It's in shadow. Side of the face there. The end of the nose slightly darker. So quite dark under that nose there. And I've picked this reference to do a demo, and hopefully it's not too tricky. The eyes are closed, so that makes it a little bit easier. That should be a little bit longer. Again, we've always got the option to take a measurement. Shadow's in the wrong place as well. Keep it soft. So let's do that. Let's just take a measurement. How wide is the nose? Right. And then that shadow actually comes across there more. And quite a curve on that moustache and the bottom lip. So, like I say, this is a perfect reference for learning. It's nothing too detailed. Just looking at shapes. Connecting it all up. And I want my portraits to look, you know, like the same look I go for on my watercolor paintings, where everything has connection, softness, hard edges in the right place, give it a look of realism. So I'm trying to learn these methods that are gonna put me in the right position. A bit of detail of the hair, the dark around the ears. I'm using the side of the pencil there more. So definitely I find using straight edges rather than curves to start with. You can always round it off afterwards. That is a useful tip. And you kind of know which are the useful tips to use, because you can see all the pros are using those ones. Not I'm a pro, I'm looking at books and videos and watching things on YouTube, whatever, and I'm hearing the same tips come up again and again. They're obviously good ones. I shall pass those on to you. And also, you know, not getting involved in features too soon. Go for the overall shape first, and then build up to putting in the details towards the end. Dark under there. The beard. And at the end of the day, we'll all have our own preferences to how things should look. You know, so it's a case of, you know, do what works for you. But I did sort of notice that a lot of these portraits done photographic and you know, very impressive, but they all look the same. So by going for soft edges and so on, you know, it's not an exact likeness as this, but you know, it's my interpretation of the scene. Maybe a dark in there. Probably his head show up, which is what's there. Dark in the ear. And I think, you know, do lots of these, you start to sort of see patterns, and you'll be able to do less measuring and do it by eye. So let's soften some of this. Lost the neckline slightly. Putty rubber. I can lift off a bit of light on his forehead there. Bit of light on the beard. So it's far from perfect, but it's a lot better than I was doing 100 days ago. So that shows to me that in 1,000 days, you know, they'll be really good, hopefully. And that's what happened with my watercolor and oils. You know, people say, you know, to other people, you know, sometimes, you know, you're talented, but, you know, it's the 20 years work before they don't, you know, acknowledge. So, you know, if you saw my pencil drawings of portraits at the very beginning, you wouldn't say I was talented, and I'm not, you know, nowhere near where I need to be. You know, there's a long way to go, and I know that. So, but you know, you've got to start somewhere. So that's what I did, and you know, I'm now at the stage where I'm really enjoying it, and I'm starting to see results. I'm still making lots of errors. You know, when I'm editing this video, I can see things wrong and so on. But you know, don't worry about that. You know, just keep doing it. You know, you're better off to perhaps have, you know, a lot of drawings done and with lots of errors than just one perfect drawing that you do. You know, so keep going, have fun, and enjoy the successes when they come. But don't worry about the failures. Keep going. So until next time, bye for now.